Brendon. My name is Burnett, and through your influence, I'm transforming my fitness knowledge, my nutrition advice, and the lessons of faith I've learned into comprehensive products and programs that help Christians cultivate health to the glory of God. But my favorite thing about you is that you care more about transformation and transcendence than simple how-to advice. And the truth is that I felt like I belonged somewhere for the first time at Experts Academy last September. You didn't say conform, settle for mediocrity, or just fit in. No, you cried express, create, pursue excellence. And it was so validating to be in a room full of idea generators and world changers that I didn't want to leave. So I'm so excited to share with you today the 3 game changers that have truly catalyzed my success. Your passion and presence taught me game changer number 1. That my greatest contribution in the world is the gift of myself. And I knew in that moment that I had an abundance to give that I was withholding from the world. It reminded me of the words of Jesus when he talks about the path to true life. He says, to gain life, you must lose it. And to find life, you must deny yourself, pick up your cross, and follow him. I now know what that means. To find life, I must give of myself fully. To gain life, I must share the story of what God has done in my life in its fullness, not only the pieces and parts that I find convenient. It was a quest for truth that led me to you, and I have not been disappointed. My quest began 5 years ago in a green leather chair at the University of Tennessee's Counseling Center. I remember how I felt that day as I shredded my nails and awaited my verdict. My judge sat across from me with a sandy brown goatee and my chart in his hands. He looked up over my chart down at me and said, I don't think you have ADD, but why don't you, and then he said those 4 magic words. Tell me more about a verbal diarrhea exploded from the recesses of my soul, up my throat, out my mouth, splattering us in shame, shrouding us in silence. When it was over, I sat shocked, and his saucer eyes blinked once, twice, and he repeated, you don't have ADD, but I do think you should talk to someone. Talk to someone, talk to someone. The last time I talked to someone, I was 5 years old, and they took my daddy away for a while. I made a promise that day to never do anything to betray my family again, especially talking to someone. But I was desperate, because on the day I made that promise, I also turned off my ability to feel, and the separation from my heart resulted in disaster, culminating in the events that led me to this green leather chair in which I now sat. Okay, I'll talk to someone. I had no idea when he handed me my appointment card that he was handing me my key to liberty. It was a shovel. Over the next 5 months, we began digging the dirt that had buried me alive. First, we faced my inability to handle conflict. As we dug and tossed that dirt aside, I felt lighter. I was hooked deeper, deeper. We finally hit the last layer of miry clay. It was the truth of my sexual abuse by members of my family, the truth I had avoided, and the truth that now lay between life and me. But there was no going back. I had tasted life, and it was sweet. So I faced the truth of the effects of my abuse, of the hurt and the shame, the violation of my soul, and the anger and bitterness. My reactions and my choice. My choice to forgive, to rise above, and to love extravagantly. And as I did these things, I felt my lifeless body rise from the depths of the earth into the light. And God breathed new life into me. And it was sweet. This experience ignited an insatiable thirst for truth in me. It led to my quest for the healthiest way to live. And over the next few years, I discovered some shocking truths in the areas of faith, food, and fitness that have revolutionized my life and the lives of my clients. It was the same quest that led me to you last September. So you inspired me to give of myself and to share my story, but you also gave me the courage to actually do it. And as I've been giving of myself and sharing my story authentically, I felt the last shroud of shame loosen. And as I've broken free, I've begun to run. I've begun to dance. It's like a spell has been broken. Which leads me to my second game changer. Brendon, you taught me that the more I share myself, the more I give others permission to share themselves. So every time I've told my story over the last few months, someone comes to me and opens up about their story. My story, I realize, gives people the permission to open up and talk about sexual abuse. It defeats the wall of silence erected by a society who refuses to engage in difficult conversations, who refuses to face the truth. But you want to know the best part? My story gives people a gift of hope, of a future birthed in possibility, as you would say. The more that I live open, without shame, not as a victim, not even as a survivor, but as a thriver, the more I defeat the evil of abuse, and the more I refuse the power that it wields over so many today. Which brings me to my third game changer. Brendon, you completely shifted my perspective the day you said, if you don't understand the architecture, then the house you build with tools won't be that great. But you give the framework, you give the blueprint, which has allowed me to increase my list by 350% since I first heard of you last May. With your blueprint, I began digging for gold instead of simply uncovering holes. I've created 2 programs. I've integrated my products and programs. I've cultivated a laser focus that has increased my productivity. I'm building a sustainable business. And I'm working on my first book, have another product on the horizon, and a seminar plan for this year. Best of all, I've learned the magical formula for your strategy that is really the key to everything. So I want to thank you, Brendon, for your impact, your influence, your enthusiasm, and your example that has helped me put closure on my past and possibility into my future. Through these 3 game changers, you've helped me give of myself fully, to share authentically with the world, and to act strategically in my business. Because of you, I'm now blooming into my full potential. I get to sparkle the light of God to the world, and I get to be a blessing to others as I've been blessed. May you be blessed as abundantly as you've blessed me. Thanks, Brendon.